Okay, hello everyone. Redstorm here, back with another live stream from Manhattan. This is along the Upper East Side. Thank you all for tuning in for the live stream. Today is Thursday, September 26th, 2024, and the time now is 6:12 p.m. in the early evening. The temperature is 74 degrees Fahrenheit. It is cloudy here in New York City. It did rain earlier. All right, so this is East 96th Street and 2nd Avenue, right in between the Upper East Side, right here, and East Harlem. East Harlem is looking north, right along there, along 2nd Avenue. And in this video, we'll be walking along the Upper East Side. We're gonna head down to the UN, the United Nations, where the UN General Assembly has been taking place this week. There are protests taking place there as well right now as we speak. And we're gonna be heading into Midtown as well. So thank you all for joining the live stream. All right, so this is East 96th Street and 2nd Avenue, as I mentioned a minute ago. We are heading east in this direction here. This is 96th Street. We're going to be walking along Bobby Wagner Walk, facing the East River. Right here we can see an MTA bus. This one is not in service. All right, so here we go. We're going to cross the streets. We're going to turn right here along East 96th Street. We are heading towards the East River Walk, which is known as Bobby Wagner Walk. Lots going on here in New York City, with Mayor Eric Adams having been indicted on 5 federal charges related to corruption and bribery. Been making the headlines here. Big story. We are going to walk to Gracie Mansion, which is the mayor's residence. So thank you all once again for joining the live stream. All right, so right now we're walking along East Avenue, East 96th Street, along 2nd Avenue, right between 2nd and 1st Avenue. We are heading to Bobby Wagner Walk, right along the East River. And we're going to walk south along that. This is the High School for Climate Justice. Oh, gonna have to pause that for a second. Okay. And here we are approaching 1st Avenue right along here, along East 96th Street. All right, had to mute the microphone there due to copyrighted music. Thank you all once again for joining the live stream as we approach 1st Avenue here along East 96th Street. We got some delivery guys here on their bikes. All right, so this is 1st Avenue that is looking south towards the Upper East Side. And right over here, this is that is facing East Harlem, looking north. And right above, that is the FDR drive. All right, this is the FDR drive. That is traffic heading north as we approach the East River Promenade, and also known as the Bobby Wagner Walk. Okay, we have Mikey Prime. Hello, Mikey. Thank you for joining the live stream. All right, let me just pan around here. This is the East River. That is the East River looking north. We got the let's see. Right here we can see the Triborough Bridge, also known as the RFK Bridge, Robert F. Kennedy Bridge, which links the Bronx and Manhattan to Queens. And right behind that we have the Hellgate Bridge. That is the Hellgate Bridge right there. That is a railroad bridge. Amtrak runs along that bridge there. And right here we can see Randall's Island. We can see Randall's and Ward's Island. And right there, that is the pedestrian bridge, which links Manhattan to Randall's Island. And those buildings right there, that is a psychiatric center along Randall's and Ward's Island. Okay, and panning around to the right, that is right here, this is Astoria, Queens, with those high rises there. That is Astoria, Queens, across the East River. Alright, so we're going to continue our walk here along the Bobby Wagner Walk in the East River Promenade. We are walking south. Thank you all for joining the live stream. If you are new to the stream, make sure to like and subscribe. If you are new to the channel, we are walking along the East River Promenade here in Manhattan. It's a beautiful cloudy night. It did rain earlier. We have some of the projects over here. So right now we are walking to Gracie Mansion, which is the residence of the New York City mayor, which is current mayor is Eric Adams. He's in a heap of trouble with federal charges having been laid out last night. He is the first mayor in New York City history to be indicted on charges while in office. Okay, and Mikey is talking about the that is Hurricane Helen. Hurricane Helen is a Category 3 storm right now, which is heading towards the Florida Panhandle. It is expected to make landfall later tonight, and let's just hope for everybody. Let's just hope for the best for everybody that will be affected, including you in Tennessee. Prayers to everybody in Florida and Georgia as well, the southern states that will be impacted by Hurricane Helen. Okay, this facility right here, this is This is part of the New York City's sanitation department. All right, and this is the FDR drive. And no problem, Mikey. Here's hoping for the best for everyone that will be impacted by the storm. Okay, so right now we are walking along the East River Promenade as we walk south, right along the East River. We are in the Upper East Side of Manhattan in New York City. Alright, so the itinerary here is to walk along this promenade. We're going to stop by Gracie Mansion, or right outside Gracie Mansion, which is the residence of the New York City Mayor. From there, we're going to walk along the Upper East Side down to the United Nations, where the UN General Assembly has been taking place all week. Leaders from all over the world have been gathered there throughout the week. And right now there are protests taking place right outside the UN, so we might be able to catch that later in the stream. All right, we can see some boats here from the New York City ferry. That ferry right there is heading to Astoria, Queens. And we can see another one of the ferries docked right here along 89th Street. Okay, we can see southbound traffic along the FDR Drive moving a bit slow, not too bad, and this is northbound traffic right along here. Alright, so that is southbound traffic, and right here this is northbound traffic. Okay, as we continue making our way south along the East River Promenade, this is the East 90th Street dock ferry landing of the New York City Ferry. Thank you all once again for joining the live stream. My name is Restaurant Pro. We are live here in New York City along the Upper East Side. This is the East River Promenade. Also known as the Bobby Wagner Walk. And we are closing in on Gracie Mansion. We can see some members of the NYPD. This is a guarded spot here along the Upper East Side. Primary residence of the New York City mayor, who was just indicted on federal charges overnight. He is the first mayor to be charged while in office. And we also have a NYPD boat right there. That's a harbor unit boat. You can see it right there as I zoom in. And right there, that is the lighthouse to the that is the Roosevelt Island lighthouse. That is the southern tip of Roosevelt Island. And behind that we can see Long Island City, Queens. We have a barge. You can see a barge right here along the East River. All right, so right here, this is the outer perimeter of Gracie Mansion. And there is the mansion right there. Let me just zoom in or zoom out. Yeah, zoom in. Right there we can get a glimpse of Gracie Mansion. Alright, so this is Carl Schurz Park. Alright, so we're gonna exit the promenade right here along Carl Schurz Park, and we're gonna go to the other side of Gracie Mansion. Quiet evening along the park here. right here we can see another glimpse of Gracie Mansion right behind these trees. Alright, so we're going to walk around here along the mansion here inside Carl Schurz Park. Alright, so this is the primary residence of the New York City mayor, who is Eric Adams right now. Probably not for long. There it is right here. Alright, so this mansion was built back in 1799. And it has been the mayor's residence since 1942. Current mayor being Eric Adams. But considering he is in hot water right now with the law, that might not last for long. Let me go back. Let me just grab a picture here. Let me go back here to the mansion. Just gonna grab a picture here with my other phone. All right. Okay, so we're gonna exit Carl Schurz Park. This is also a popular spot for dog walking. If you live along this neighborhood here on the Upper East Side. Okay, so we're gonna exit the park right here. This is right along East End Avenue. We're gonna turn around here to my right. Gonna check out what's going on here. There are some media, of course, right in front of the mansion. Gonna take a look at that. Let's see here. Okay, so this is East End Avenue. Let me just make my way here real quick. Alright, so right now we are across the street from Gracie Mansion. We can see members of the media gathered right in front of the mansion here. Eric Adams is facing 5 federal charges related to bribery and conspiracy as well. He is the first sitting mayor to be charged while in office here in New York City. Let me get out my pass here just in case I need it. I do have a press pass here. Alright, so we have some media here. We got some reporters. We got the cameramen out. Eric Adams did hold a press conference here earlier in the day. Okay, and this is the you can see the main entrance to Gracie Mansion. I don't think he's there right now. He might be at City Hall, perhaps. But he was here early in the day holding a press conference related to those charges that were filed overnight. Let me just be careful here along the street here. Right there we can see the main entrance to Gracie Mansion. This mansion is guarded by the NYPD. It does have round-the-clock security. Right there, there it is. Okay, so while I'm here, let me just briefly read what the situation is here regarding Eric Adams. Mayor Adams is charged with 5 counts, including bribery and fraud. These are federal charges. He was, let's see, the alleged conduct predates Eric Adams' time as mayor and dates to his time as Brooklyn Borough President. This is going back a decade, back to 2014. Let's see here. What else can I read here? It is a 57-page federal indictment unsealed on Thursday morning has charged Mayor Eric Adams with bribery, wire fraud, and accepting improper campaign contributions. Adams is specifically charged with bribery, solicitation of illegal foreign campaign contributions, wire fraud, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Charges that expose the mayor to significant prison time if convicted. Now, going on here, prosecutors allege that Adams received free and steeply discounted flight upgrades valued at more than $100,000, as well as campaign contributions from straw donors, some of which helped him qualify for more than $10 million in matching public campaign funds. The mayor is also accused of intervening in New York City Fire Department procedures to benefit foreign interests. In one interest, Adams allegedly pressured fire inspectors to approve the opening of a Turkish consulate building despite safety concerns, all in exchange for personal favors. Federal law prohibits foreign nationals from contributing to U.S. elections, a safeguard to protect the democratic process. So that is a brief description of what is going on with New York City Mayor Eric Adams as he's facing federal charges related to bribery and fraud, conspiracy as well. So that is the current situation here along Gracie Mansion, or right outside Gracie Mansion. So, Mayor Adams, the first New York City mayor to be charged with crime while in office. Let me just grab a picture here. Let me just grab a picture here of the media as they stand here right outside Gracie Mansion. So thank you all once again for joining the live stream. We are outside Gracie Mansion. This is the mayor's residence. This is along East End Avenue in the Upper East Side of Manhattan and 88th Street. All right, so that is the situation right here along Gracie Mansion. We have more members of the media right over here, standing right on this corner here. Eric Adams, he is determined to remain mayor while going through this process of these federal charges laid out against him. Okay, so we're going to proceed our walk here along East End Avenue. We're going to head south. That is the current situation here taking place right outside Gracie Mansion with Mayor Eric Adams. Alright, so if you are new to the stream, if you are new to the channel, welcome to the channel. My name is Redstone Pro. We are live here along the Upper East Side. This is East End Avenue. We just stopped by Gracie Mansion, the primary residence of the New York City Mayor, who is Eric Adams. He is facing federal charges right now. the first mayor in New York City's history to be charged with a crime while in office. You can go back a couple of minutes. I just gave a description of the current situation there. Thank you all once again for joining the live stream. All right, so right now we're gonna walk along the Upper East Side. We're walking south. We're gonna head towards the United Nations, where the UN General Assembly has been taking place since Monday. Leaders from all over the world have been gathered there for the UN General Assembly, which takes place every year. Beautiful evening here in New York City. It is cloudy. It did rain earlier. So this is Carl Schurz Park, which we were in about 10 minutes ago. So we're going to continue our walk here along the Upper East Side as we head to the United Nations complex. All right, so the time now is 6:45 p.m. here in New York City. It is cloudy. The current temperature is 74 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, so right now we're continuing our walk along East End Avenue as we head towards the United Nations complex. There are protests taking place there right now outside of the UN. Those protests are related to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the UN. He is scheduled to address the UN General Assembly tomorrow. Okay, we have Enzo. Hello, Enzo. Nice to see you, my friend. Okay, Enzo, right now this is the Upper East Side of Manhattan. We are walking to the United Nations. This is the Upper East Side and Yorkville neighborhoods right now in Manhattan, New York City. Hope everyone back in Brazil is doing okay, doing well. Oh, thank you so much, Enzo. Thank you so much. I know you're in the middle of school right now, so I appreciate you stopping by. All right, so right now we are heading to the United Nations. There are some protests there taking place related to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the UN. Of course, we have Israel right now engaging in conflict not only in Gaza right now against Hamas, the militant group Hamas, but also in Lebanon against the militant group Hezbollah. Oh yes, definitely. I'll probably get there maybe in about maybe 30 minutes, I would say. We'll be there maybe in about half hour. Okay, Enzo, just drop by when you can, my friend. Hopefully I'll still be on whenever you're able to watch the stream. But thank you for stopping by right now. I definitely appreciate that. Alright, so right now it is relatively quiet here along the Upper East Side. This is a primarily residential neighborhood. Alright, so this is East 81st Street right here, right along East End Avenue. Let's see, can we head back to the, maybe I should make my way back to the East River Promenade. Guess I'll make my way back there. Alright, we can see the FDR Drive. That is southbound traffic. Moving a bit slowly right now during rush hour. Okay, so we are heading back to the East River Promenade. That's a beautiful shot right there of the FDR Drive. Let me grab a hold of, get a picture of this right here. Okay, so that is northbound traffic here to the left, and to the right with the taillights, that is southbound traffic. Alright, so we are back along the East River Promenade. We can see Roosevelt Island. Alright, this is the East River right here. We can see Roosevelt Island right across the East River. Roosevelt Island is part of Manhattan. That is Long Island City behind Roosevelt Island. Those buildings there, that is part of Long Island City, Queens. And right there we can see the Queensboro Bridge, also known as the Edcott Bridge. As we continue making our way south towards the United Nations, right along the East River Promenade, I want to thank everybody for tuning into this live stream. Thank you all so much. We just saw Gracie Mansion right about 15 minutes ago. That is the residence of Mayor Eric Adams, who right now is facing federal charges relating to bribery, conspiracy, and wire fraud, among other things. He is the first New York City mayor to be charged with a crime while in office. So that is the big news here in New York City today. Okay, and if you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me if you haven't already done so. Thank you all once again for your support as we continue making our way to the United Nations, right along the East River Promenade and the East River Walk. We can see rush hour traffic here along the FDR Drive. Alright, let's continue making our way. Once again, that is Roosevelt Island. Beautiful evening here in New York City. It is cloudy, as you can see. It did rain earlier in the day, but right now it is cloudy. No more storms are in the forecast for the moment. That right there needs to be repaved. Alright, so we are walking along the East River Walk right here in Manhattan. Alright, so we're walking along the East River right here. This is the East River Walk and Promenade. We have the FDR Drive to our right. Right now we are walking south to the United Nations complex, where the UN General Assembly has been taking place since Monday. Leaders from all over the world have been gathered there for the UN General Assembly, which is scheduled to end on Monday. And right now there are protests taking place near the UN that is related to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the UN. As we all know right now, Israel is engaged with the war in Gaza with Hamas, and they are also engaging in conflict with the militant group Hezbollah in Lebanon. I think we have to turn back here, do it? Yeah, I believe so. Yep. Alright, so we might have to head back to the pedestrian bridge that was just ahead. Alright, so that part of the river walk is closed. Alright, so we're gonna have to walk to the pedestrian bridge, which is about a couple of blocks north. We just passed it a few minutes ago. Alright, once again we can see a beautiful view here of the East River with Roosevelt Island right across the river. Okay, so the East River Walk is closed beyond this point here, so we have to make our way to the pedestrian bridge. Alright, so we're going to walk over the FDR Drive. Alright, here we are walking over the FDR Drive. That right there is looking north. And right here, this is looking south. Alright, so right now we're heading back to the residential areas of the Upper East Side as we continue making our way to the United Nations. Thank you all once again for joining the live stream. It is a quiet evening here in New York City. Alright, so I think I'll make my way over to Yorkville Avenue and then we'll just continue walking south. Alright, so this is York Avenue right here. This is the Yorkville neighborhood of the Upper East Side. This is East 78th Street right here along York Avenue. Alright, so we're going to continue walking south, making our way to the UN via York Avenue. I think I said Yorkville Avenue. This is York Avenue, not Yorkville. Yorkville is the neighborhood. York is the avenue.
When I get on the call.
Just a little correction there. Alright, so we're going to continue making our way to the United Nations. This is East 77th Street. This is the Yorkville neighborhood, which is part of the Upper East Side. A stretch of the East River Walk was closed, so that's why we had to make our way here. But we are proceeding south to the United Nations, where the UN General Assembly has been taking place since Monday. Beautiful evening here in New York City. Alright, so we're still about 30 blocks or so from the United Nations complex. But we're going to continue walking here along York Avenue. There are protests taking place there outside of the UN relating to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the UN General Assembly. He is scheduled to speak at the UN tomorrow. It was scheduled for today, but it was delayed to tomorrow, I believe, because of the protests. Alright, so if you are new to the stream, welcome to the stream. My name is Redstone Pro. We are live here in New York City. This is along York Avenue in the Upper East Side in Yorkville neighborhoods of Manhattan. Right now we are heading to the United Nations complex. There are protests taking place there, so I'm hoping to catch that once we get there. And if you are watching in Florida or along the southeast United States, prayers out to you guys as you prepare for Hurricane Helen, which is scheduled to strike the panhandle of Florida later tonight. So hoping everyone there stays safe. It is a Cat 3 hurricane. It might be a Cat 4 hurricane by the time it strikes the coast. Wishing everyone well in those affected areas. Alright, so this is York Avenue. We are walking south along York Avenue to the United Nations complex. We have some construction here taking place. Okay, oops, let me see if I could just make the light. Yep. Alright, so thank you all once again for joining the live stream. It is Thursday, September 26th, 2024. The time now here is 7:12 p.m. It is rush hour, of course. The temperature right now is 73 degrees Fahrenheit. It is cloudy. It did rain earlier in the day here in New York. Okay, so this right here, this is Sotheby's. This is outside Sotheby's, which is a famous auction house. All right, this right here, this is all part of New York Presbyterian Hospital, by the way, which is one of the largest hospitals in the New York City area.
Is it okay in there?
All right, so this is we are outside of New York Presbyterian. The lady there got spooked by a water bug, I think it was. All right, so this is New York Presbyterian Hospital, the Weill Cornell Medical Center. This is one of the largest New York City hospital complexes in the New York City area. Okay, as we continue walking along York Avenue to the United Nations. Look at all these folks making their way into this building here. This is the Weill Cornell Medical College. We have future doctors and surgeons right here at right here in front of the building here. Alright, so if you are new to the stream, welcome to the stream. My name is Redstone Pro. We are here in New York City. This is along the Upper East Side. Thank you all once again for joining the live stream. We are walking along the New York Presbyterian Hospital campus here, complex. This is on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. And right across the street we have Rockefeller University. This is right along East 68th Street. We are making our way to the United Nations, which is about another 20 or so blocks south from where we are right now. There are protests taking place right there as we speak. That is related to Benjamin Netanyahu, who is the Prime Minister of Israel, and his visit to the UN. Lots going on here in New York City. As I spoke earlier in the stream, New York City Mayor Eric Adams has been hit with federal charges. 5 counts He is the first New York City mayor to be hit with federal charges with any crime. Any sitting mayor in New York City. Those charges are related to bribery and conspiracy, as well as other things as well. New York City mayor in a lot of trouble right now, along with other officials in his administration. It's all part of one big corruption scheme that has been taking place for the last decade or so. All right, here we see Rockefeller University. All right, so as we continue walking south along York Avenue, we are heading to the United Nations. The United Nations General Assembly has been taking place since Monday. It is a week-long event where leaders from all over the world gather to discuss matters worldwide importance. And right now we have plenty of those to discuss, especially along the Middle East with Israel, as they continue to do battle along two fronts. The southern front in Gaza, and with Hamas, the militant group, which orchestrated the October 4th attack last year, which claimed many Israeli lives. The conflict there has cost thousands of lives, of course, mostly in Gaza. And they are also battling the Hezbollah militant group in the northern front in Lebanon. That conflict has already cost hundreds of lives, mostly in Lebanon. So lots going on in the world, lots going on here in New York City. We can only hope for better times ahead. And let us not forget the war taking place in Ukraine with Russia, with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, he did speak at the UN yesterday. So let's just hope for better times ahead. There is just too many going on right now. It's too much going on. Gotta pray for world peace. Alright, right here we can see the time and the temperature. It is 7:22 and it is 72 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a lot of traffic here. We have right here we can see the bike unit, the mounted unit of the NYPD. Let's just watch here for a minute. Looks like they're heading to the FDR Drive, I suppose. Let's see. That is the entrance there. That's the southbound entrance. Let's see where they're heading. Okay, let's see. Are they going to make the turn here? Not sure. Alright, so we can see the motorcycle unit here of the NYPD. Not sure where they're heading. They might be heading towards the UN, perhaps. There are protests there taking place, so perhaps they're heading in that direction. Not sure. Let's see.
One team on this side, one team on that side of the sidewalk. Close it off over there. You can't close it off over there.
Or perhaps they're just directing traffic. I'm not sure yet. Or pedestrian control. All right, I'm not sure where they're heading. My guess is perhaps they're heading to the United Nations. There are protests there taking place, perhaps for pedestrian control. All right, looks like they're splitting up here. All right, we also have some officers here on bike. We can see the bike unit also here. We can see the bike unit here along with the motorcycle unit.
Wall to wall, let's go. Goes up with the wall, let's go, guys.
Go. These 4 guys here, 4 guys here.
Guys, pull these cars through. Pull the cars through. Traffic.
Look at the number of officers here on bike. I'm hoping I won't be closed in here. Are you guys closing the sidewalk here? Are you guys closing the sidewalk here? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, okay.
Right now, this could be closed. On that side.
Thank you, thank you. Look at this scene here. Oh, I think the protesters are heading in this direction. I can see them right now. The protesters are heading here. This is going to be quite the scene here. All right, so the protesters, like I mentioned earlier, are heading up this way. There they are right there. All right, let's just stand back here. All right, we are in the middle of the protest here. All right, so these are the protesters that started marching at the UN. They're making their way north. This is along York Avenue. And we're just right in the middle of it. Look at this scene here. All right, so that protest I told you about earlier taking place along the UN. These are the protesters. They are making their way north. This is along York Avenue. And we have a big contingent of NYPD following them as they go. All right, so quite the scene here. All right, so this protest is related to the conflict taking place in the Middle East.
You guys are so embarrassing, I fucking can't!
What's up, presidente? What's up, presidente?
We have literally thousands marching here. We have the we got the riot squad here as well. All right, looks like the bike unit is moving along as well. Right there we can see the flag of Lebanon and Palestine. All right, we got the NYPD officers in riot gear, just in case things get out of control here. Alright, so that is the scene here along the Upper East Side. Those were the protesters that started at the UN. They're making their way north. And we have scores of police officers following the protesters. We can see the bike unit here. And we have plenty of patrol vehicles as well trailing them. So that is the scene here right now. Not sure where they're heading. They might be heading towards Gracie Mansion, perhaps. Not sure. Maybe I will follow these folks, see where they're heading. So instead of heading to the UN, which was the original plan, we're gonna follow these police officers and see where the protesters are heading. All right, so I'm gonna make my way back up. The original plan was to head to the United Nations to meet up with the protesters, see the events there, but they are already here on the Upper East Side, so we're gonna follow them and see where they're heading. I wouldn't be surprised if they're heading back to Gracie Mansion where we were earlier. Alright, so we're gonna just follow the this is the back end of the protest. Alright, so this protest is related to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the United Nations. He was scheduled to speak at the UN General Assembly today, but that was postponed till tomorrow. Alright, so right now we are following the protest. This is the back end of it. So we're just going to follow these police officers that you see ahead. Not sure where they're heading, but we'll be following them for a bit. But right now they are heading north, back where we were walking originally. So as you can see, this is creating quite the traffic tie-up here along York Avenue. All right, we can see some of the officers here in their riot gear. Not sure where the protests themselves are heading, but they are walking north along York Avenue here in the Upper East Side. So we are heading back where we were walking from. We have a van here of the NYPD. They might be heading towards Gracie Mansion, not sure. I think I heard on the police radio they might be heading towards Gracie Mansion. That is where we were earlier, talking about the Eric Adams situation. So it appears that the protesters might be heading to Gracie Mansion, the residence of the New York City mayor. We were there about an hour ago. So that is where we are heading. We are following the protesters. This is the back end of the protest. So we were heading to the United Nations to document the protest, but as you can see, they are on the move right now. They are heading north. And we are following them as well. Although right now we are not in the middle of the group. We are just outside of the tail end here of the protest. You can see, you can hear a lot of the beeping. This is causing a lot of traffic, of course. This is all relating to the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the United Nations General Assembly, which was scheduled to take place today, but it is now scheduled for tomorrow. And of course, we have the conflict with Israel and Gaza, Hamas, and Hezbollah in Lebanon. All right, we can see some of the officers here in their helmets. The protest itself does appear to be peaceful right now. It is a loud protest, but it appears to be peaceful right now. All right, so we're back on York Avenue. We're heading back where we were walking from. Right outside of New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell Medical Center. So it appears that they might be heading towards Gracie Mansion, which we were earlier. Talking about the Eric Adams indictments. Eric Adams, the first New York City mayor to be hit with criminal charges. So quite the evening here in New York City with the protests and the Eric Adams situation. Okay, so right now we are walking back north along York Avenue. We have a few of the protesters here. We have a few of the Hasidic Jewish protesters here. Let's see what the sign says. Let me walk around this way here. Alright, so these are, you can see the Hasidic and Jewish protesters joining the protest. Although right now they are not marching with the group. Alright, so let's see what else is going on here along York Avenue as we walk back north. Alright, so I'm not sure where the protesters are heading, but they might be heading towards Gracie Mansion, which we were earlier discussing the Eric Adams indictments that were filed yesterday, or early this morning, I should say. Alright, right there we can see the officers on bikes, so it looks like they're heading west and in the western direction. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be heading back to Gracie Mansion and see if the protesters are gonna end up there. And speaking of Israel, we can see a flag right up there, the Israeli flag. Alright, so the protest taking place here tonight is related to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit to the United Nations General Assembly. He was scheduled to speak today, but that was postponed till tomorrow due to the protest itself. Alright, I'm not sure where the protesters headed. Not sure where they went. But we're gonna be walking back to Gracie Mansion. I did overhear on the police radio, the police scanner, that perhaps they were heading in that direction. Not sure if they're still heading there. Quite the evening here in New York. Alright, so this is York Avenue. We are walking back north again. The original plan of the stream was to walk to the United Nations to check out the protest, but the protest, as you can see, was on the move. Not sure where they're heading next, perhaps. But I did overhear on the police scanner that perhaps they were heading to Gracie Mansion, which we were earlier. So that is where I'm walking back to, just to see if they are heading there. Alright, so thank you all once again for joining the live stream. We are here live in New York City. This is Redstone Pro. This is the Upper East Side of Manhattan. We just watched pro-Palestinian protesters marching along here. and pro-Lebanon protesters as well, because of that conflict taking place there as well.
Right. Long days tomorrow.
All right, so right now we are walking north, back north along York Avenue. All right, hello, Jonathan. Welcome back, Jonathan. Jonathan, you just missed the protesters, the pro-Palestinian protesters as they made their way along this neighborhood here on the Upper East Side. All right, so right now we are heading back to Gracie Mansion. I'm not sure if the protesters are heading there. They did. The police did discuss that location, but as you can see, perhaps the protesters are heading in a different direction. I'm not really sure where they might be heading next, but I am heading back to Gracie Mansion. All right, so this is East 75th Street. We are walking north back to Gracie Mansion. All right, so lots going on here in New York City, of course, with Mayor Eric Adams having been indicted on 5 federal charges relating to bribery and conspiracy. He is the first New York City mayor to be charged with a crime while in office. We also have the UN General Assembly taking place along the United Nations, and as we just saw a bit of a while ago, we have the protests. Not sure where they're heading now, but I am heading back to Gracie Mansion, which is the residence of Mayor Eric Adams. All right, so this is York Avenue. We're heading back north along York Avenue. This is the Yorkville area of the Upper East Side. All right, so the current time is 7:49 p.m. here in New York City. And the temperature is, I believe, 71 degrees. 71 degrees Fahrenheit. It is cloudy. It is a cloudy night. It did rain earlier in the day. All right, so right now we are heading back to Gracie Mansion. protesters that we saw earlier. Perhaps they were heading in that direction, but right now I don't see any protests around here. It looks like they went off to a different direction. I believe they might have been heading west. So whether they are heading to Gracie Mansion or not, probably not, but that is where we're heading back. All right, so this is York Avenue in the Yorkville section of the Upper East Side.
Yeah, I'm tracking him on his phone, and he's still there.
All right, this is East 79th Street here as we wait to cross the streets. Here we go. Okay, so if you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me if you do, if you haven't already done so. Thank you all once again for joining me in this live stream. Alright, so we saw some pro-Palestinian protesters there as they were making their way up along the Upper East Side here. They started out along 42nd Street. They made their way to the United Nations, which is where I was going to go to originally to catch up with that. But they are on the move right now. I'm not sure where they are exactly right now, but they are on the move. I am heading back to Gracie Mansion. I overheard on the police scanner that they were probably heading towards Gracie Mansion, but that does not appear to be the case right now, since they went off in a different direction. Gracie Mansion is the mayor's residence. Mayor Eric Adams right now facing a slew of charges relating to conspiracy and bribery, among other charges as well. Lots going on here in New York City and the world right now. Look at all the scaffolding here. New York City is covered in hundreds of miles of these sidewalk sheds. Although the city has been implementing laws to reduce the number of these scaffoldings that you see here. Is that an NYPD vehicle? Looks like it is. Yep. Okay, so we are heading back to Gracie Mansion. All right, so this is York Avenue on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. All right, so thank you all once again for joining me on this live stream. And we have some diners out here right now.
Into what 2009 Daniel Day-Lewis and Penelope Cruz movie musical. One more time. Federico Fellini's 1963 Oscar.
All right, so right now we are heading back to Gracie Mansion, which we saw earlier in the stream. Not sure if those protesters were heading in that direction, but that is where we're heading back to. Alright, this is 85th Street right here. Ah, it's pizza, which I could have one right now.
Hey, Papa.
Alright, so it is relatively quiet right now. As we approach East 86th Street, we're going to make a right here along East 86th Street. We're going to check out if there's anything going on at Gracie Mansion. Not sure if the protesters were heading there, but they did wander off into a different direction, so I'm not sure if they're actually heading there. But nevertheless, we are heading back there just to see what might be going on there. All right, so this is East 86th Street as we make our way back to East End Avenue towards Gracie Mansion. This is one of the more quieter streams, with the exception of the protest that we saw earlier. Alright, so we're making our way back to East End Avenue. We can see some police vehicles heading in that direction as well. Not sure, once again, if the protests are making their way here. This is where we were earlier in the stream, talking about the Eric Adams situation there. Alright, so let's see what's taking place here along Gracie Mansion, or right outside Gracie Mansion. Alright, so let's see, we're heading back there. You can see the line of police vehicles making their way there. You can see, wow, it's actually more police officers there now than there were earlier. Alright, so this is East End Avenue. Is the sidewalk there open?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Alright, so you can see the line of vehicles there, police vehicles, right outside Gracie Mansion. This is called Shorts Park once again. Let's see what's, do you see the barricades about another block north? Looks like they are barricading, looks like they might be barricading the street right outside the mansion. Let me see here. Alright, so they are starting to barricade the sidewalk right outside Gracie Mansion. So it looks like they may be, perhaps the protesters are making their way here. As you can see, there is a large gathering of officers here. Wow, look at this scene here. They are starting to close off the surrounding street here. Look at this scene here. So this is a lot more than what we saw earlier a couple hours ago. So are the protesters making their way here? Oh, they are. Okay. Do you know in how long?
I do not.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So the protesters that we saw earlier, they are making their way here. So that is confirmation. All right, so those protesters that we saw marching along York Avenue, they are making their way here. So the surrounding streets are being closed off here, right outside Gracie Mansion. And you can see they are bringing in more of the barricades. So they are expecting the protesters here after all. And we can hear sirens out in the distance. So we are expecting the protesters to be making their way here eventually. This guy is trying to make his way through. Alright, so this is just outside of Carl Schurz Park in Gracie Mansion. Let's see if we can get a view of Gracie Mansion. It's right behind these trees. Yeah, probably can't really see it from here, but it is behind those trees. Yeah. You should be able to, yeah. Just don't want to get in trouble here. Yeah, right here, right here. Alright. Thank you. Alright, so you can see, alright, so the police are expecting the protesters to make their way here. Not sure if Eric Adams is here at the location, but I would think he probably isn't due to security reasons, obviously. So as you can see, Gracie Mansion is right behind these this fence right here. All right, so this should be getting interesting as we wait for these protesters to make their way here. All right, so this is along East End Avenue, right along, this is 88th Street, I believe. Yeah, 88th Street and North End, or East End Avenue, I should say. 87th Street, this is 87th Street. And I would think that this perimeter might get bigger. We're just gonna wait and see what happens next. All right, let me just check my battery levels here. Okay, I do have enough battery for the time being. Looks like, oh look, they're bringing in more of the barricades here. All right, so we're gonna hang around here for a bit just to see when the protesters might arrive here. There is no estimate here, but they are on the move here. All right, so Gracie Mansion is the primary residence of the mayor, who is Eric Adams right now. He is on the he is facing some charges, some federal charges relating to bribery and conspiracy, among other things, which I discussed earlier in the stream. Oops, let me just fix the gimbal here. Give me 1 second here so I can fix the gimbal. All right, so this is just outside of Gracie Mansion, as the police prepare for the arrival of the protesters. There was some uncertainty as to where the protesters might be heading, but they are heading here. I did get that confirmation about 10 minutes ago. So they are heading here. As you can see, the police are setting up this barrier right outside of Gracie Mansion. This is right along East End Avenue and 87th Street, right outside of Gracie Mansion and Carl Schurz Park. This is otherwise a quiet residential stretch, but that might change in a bit here. . 'Cause 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 All right, so there is no traffic. There is no vehicular traffic heading in this direction. Perhaps that one car there. Yep, they're being directed here, of course. All right, so Gracie Mansion is right behind these trees here, which we saw earlier in the stream. Eric Adams, I would think he's not there right now, considering the situation that we have here. All right, so right now we are waiting for the pro-Palestinian protesters that we saw earlier in the stream to make their way here, right outside Gracie Mansion. This is along East End Avenue, the Upper East Side of Manhattan. So thank you all once again for joining in on this live stream as we await these protesters to arrive at this location. All right, so while we do that, we're gonna walk around the surrounding streets here. We'll be back at the at this location here. All right, so we're gonna get back here in a few minutes. Gonna see if I can head to the other side of that barrier, of that perimeter that was set up there. It is quiet right now. This is a quiet neighborhood, residential neighborhood. That will be changing soon. Hopefully it won't get too crazy when these protesters arrive. Okay, so right now we are heading back to York Avenue. We're gonna make a sort of a U-turn here. We're gonna head to the other side of that barrier. All right, so thank you once again for those of you joining the live stream. My name is Redstone Pro. We are live in New York City on this Thursday night. Here along the Upper East Side, we are waiting for protesters to arrive here at the location. They are heading towards Gracie Mansion. As you saw a minute or two ago, the police are setting up a barrier there as they wait for the protesters to arrive at the location. Not sure where they are now, but they are on the move. We did see them about an hour ago as they were making their way north. They were coming from the United Nations. All right, so right now we're gonna make a right here along York Avenue. All right, we got some officers right here on York as well. All right, so this is York Avenue. We're gonna... All right, I think they're heading north. They are heading north as they were earlier, I believe. We can see more of the barricades are coming in. They are heading north. Not sure where they are right now, but they are heading north here. Looks like they have a barricade here, so I do have my press pass, so I should be able to make my way inside. either here or at the other block where we came from. So as you can see, they are closing the surrounding streets here. All right, we have more. Looks like we have more police there on the corner. All right, so this right here, this is 89th Street. We can hear the police scanners. All right, so if you are new to the live stream, we are awaiting the arrival of protesters, pro-Palestinian protesters. They are making their way to Gracie Mansion. The protest started around 42nd Street. They ended up at the United Nations, and now they're heading here to Gracie Mansion, which is the residence of the New York City mayor, which is Eric Adams, who is facing some federal charges right now. So lots going on right now. This has been quite an event so far, with everything going on in the news. All right, so we're making our way back to York Avenue. All right, so we're going to see what's going on at the other side of the barrier that we saw a few minutes ago that the police have set up right outside of Gracie Mansion. So the protesters that we saw earlier in the stream, they are heading here. Not sure where they are right now, but they are heading here. All right, so this is the you can see this is the other side of the perimeter that was set up. This is I believe this is 90th Street here, or 89. This is 89th Street here.
Yeah, it's closed up. Yes, sir.
Side, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so this is the other side of the barrier that we saw earlier a few minutes ago, right along East End. Oh, my gimbal just need to adjust my gimbal here. Give me 1 second, folks. Okay. All right, so this is the other side of the barrier that we saw a few minutes ago, right outside of Gracie Mansion, which is located right behind these trees here. So they are awaiting the protesters. Not sure where they are right now, but they are heading here. All right, so right now we're gonna head back to the other side of this, the barrier, the perimeter that they have set up here. Whoa! We got dogs barking at each other. Oh, just one dog barking at the other. All right, so the protesters, they're heading here. Hopefully this won't take too long. Got a little nice looking dog here. All right, so this is the Upper East Side as we await the arrival of these protesters to the Gracie Mansion site. We're gonna make our way back to York Avenue, and then we're gonna be heading back to East End. All right, so let's see how long this takes. Hopefully it won't be taking too long. All right, we can hear more of the sirens. Alright, so the protesters are probably not far from this location right now. You can see the police are building up here in numbers. This is normally a mostly quiet stretch along the Upper East Side, but right now that is starting to change with the impending arrival of these protesters. All right, so 88th Street, that is this is where you would normally go up to visit Gracie Mansion, but that is obviously closed right now. Quite the scene out here.
Tell me when the warnings are red. I'll have my bikes jump right on them.
So can I walk through there? Okay, thank you. All right, so we're back on 87th Street. This is where we were just about 10 minutes ago. All right, so we're heading back to East End Avenue. as we await the arrival of these protesters making their way to Gracie Mansion. So let's see how long this takes before they arrive here at the location. We did see them earlier in the stream as they were making their way north from the United Nations. And we have some pumpkins here. It is the fall after all, which just started a couple days ago. Alright, so we are heading back towards East End Avenue, right in front of Gracie Mansion, as we await the arrival of these protests, pro-Palestinian protesters that we saw earlier in the stream. Not sure where the location is right now, but they are heading here. Alright, so we're just going to stay around here. Hopefully for not too long. Alright, so the time now is 8:26. Alright, so traffic, vehicular traffic is being directed here at 87th Street. Alright, so you can see where the perimeter is set up here along 87th Street and East End Avenue, right outside of Gracie Mansion, which is right behind those streets there. I suppose Eric Adams is not here at the location due to the situation here with the protest. Alright, so we're going to hang around here and see what takes place here as time goes on here. Alright, looks like we have a tow truck there, or a barrier truck. That's looks like they're bringing in more barriers, barricades. Okay, so if you are new to the stream, welcome to the stream. My name is Redstorm Pro. We are live here in New York City. This is right outside of Gracie Mansion, which is the mayor's residence. We are awaiting the arrival of pro-Palestinian protesters as they're making their way here from the United Nations, which we saw earlier. We did see the group earlier in the stream about an hour or so ago. They are making their way here to Gracie Mansion, right outside of Eric Adams' residence. The mayor of New York City. He himself is facing charges relating to bribery and conspiracy, among other things. He is the first New York City mayor in office to be charged criminally. So we have lots going on here right now. So the exact location of the protesters, I'm not sure where they are right now, but they are heading here. We did see them earlier in the stream about an hour ago as they were making their way north from the United Nations. Alright, so they are waiting there. Looks like they're going to let that truck go through. So we're gonna hang around here for a bit here just to see when these protesters might arrive, but they are on the move. All right, we can hear the sirens out in the distance. All right, we can see more vehicles, more NYPD vehicles along East End Avenue here. We got more coming in. We got more making their way here. Look at this scene here. We have more vehicles of the NYPD arriving here. Wow. They're anticipating the arrival. We did see, my estimate was maybe a couple of thousand protesters as they were making their way along York Avenue. And Gracie Mansion, let's see, it's right behind here. Let's see, we can see it. All right, so this stretch of the park is still open. All right, so Gracie Mansion is right up here. That is the mayor's residence. Although I would think he is not here tonight, given the situation here. All right, so that is Gracie Mansion right there, right behind these trees. That is Gracie Mansion. That mansion was built back in 1799, and we can see NYPD right in front of it. All right, so that is Gracie Mansion right here. It is guarded 24/7 by the NYPD. As you can see, some of them right here guarding the entrance here. All right, so that is Gracie Mansion. As we make our way back to East End Avenue, we are awaiting the protesters to arrive here. I would think that this park is going to be closed, if it isn't already. This is Carl Schultz Park. All right, so we have more police arriving here. You can see the number of NYPD officers is building up here. Alright, so let me oops, my gimbal once again. I do have my battery pack attached here, so let me just fix this real quick. Alright. Alright, so we can see the line of vehicles here along East End Avenue. Alright, so if you are new to the stream, welcome to the stream. My name is Redstone Pro. We are live here along East End Avenue in the Upper East Side of Manhattan. We are awaiting the arrival of pro-Palestinian protesters here, right outside of Gracie Mansion, which is the residence of the New York City mayor, who is Eric Adams. Eric Adams himself is facing some federal charges right now that was filed earlier today. So he's in quite a lot of trouble himself right now, relating to bribery and conspiracy, which has been affecting his administration. So we can see NYPD vans lining the street here as they await the arrival of these protesters. Alright, so as far as the location right now, their current location, I'm not sure where they are, but they are making their way here. This is normally a quiet residential street, as you can see, but right now it is being turned into quite the spectacle here. Alright, let me see if I can make my way back to the other side here. Alright, so we're going to walk along this part of the street here. This is right outside of Carl Schurz Park and Gracie Mansion, right here on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Alright, so right now we are awaiting the arrival of pro-Palestinian protesters as they make their way right outside of Gracie Mansion. We can see scores of officers waiting here. Alright, so the time now is 8:38 p.m. Eastern time here in New York City. So we're going to stick around here for quite a bit here. As long as my batteries allow it, I will stick around here for perhaps another half hour or so. Hopefully we'll start to see some activity here. But they are scheduled to arrive here. We did see them earlier in the stream about an hour ago as they were making their way north from the United Nations. I would say maybe a couple of thousand, perhaps more at the time. So right now this is a waiting game. This is a waiting game right now as we await the arrival of the protesters.
They're gonna like start jumping.
I heard on the radio them saying going northbound.
Northbound on the park.
Alright, so I'm gonna plug my power bank here. Let's see how much battery I have on my power bank. It's still over 50%, so I should be okay for the stream. Alright, so this is right outside of Gracie Mansion along Carl Schurz Park. This is East End Avenue on the Upper East Side. East End and East 87th Street. So bear with me guys as we await the arrival of these protests right outside of Gracie Mansion. We can see members of the media here as well. This is a normally quiet residential street, but as you can see, it is being overtaken by police activity as they await the arrival of these protesters. So let's just have some patience here. Hopefully the rest of the stream will pay off. All right, so I'm going to mute this for a second here. I'm going to mute the stream for a minute or two, so just give me, I'll be right back with that. All right, so we are back here as we await the arrival of these protesters right outside Gracie Mansion. Thank you all for your patience. We're going to need more patience as we wait here for the arrival of those protesters. This is right outside of Gracie Mansion, which is the home of the mayor of New York City, which is Eric Adams. He is facing criminal charges himself, so this is quite a lot going on here. As you can see, this is right outside of Carl Schurz Park, which is where Gracie Mansion is located, which we saw a few minutes ago. All right, so right now we are awaiting the arrival of protesters. Those are pro-Palestinian protesters. They are making their way here from the United Nations, which we saw about an hour ago as they were making their way north from the UN. When they'll be here, I'm not sure. Hopefully it won't be too long from now. But as you can see, the NYPD presence here is building up. This is right along East End Avenue on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, right outside of Gracie Mansion. All right, so we'll be sticking around here for a bit here. Hopefully not too long as we wait here for the protesters to arrive. My guess is probably a couple of thousand, could be more from what we saw earlier. We did catch up to them as they were making their way north along York Avenue. So thank you all once again for joining the live stream, and thank you for your patience. Right now this is a waiting game as we wait for the protesters to arrive. As you can see, there is a buildup of NYPD officers. And Alex says, find Josh Brock. Thank you, Alex, for joining the live stream. Alright, so we are awaiting the arrival of pro-Palestinian protesters as they make their way here along right outside of Gracie Mansion along East End Avenue here in the upper east side of Manhattan. We can see members of the NYPD that is part of their riot squad. Alright, so let's see what's gonna happen here. New York City Mayor Eric Adams under investigation, of course. Federal charges were filed against him early this morning relating to conspiracy and bribery, among other things. He is the first New York City mayor in office to face criminal charges. Alright, so we're going to stick around here for a bit here. I'm not sure for how long, but we're going to hang around here as we await the arrival of these protesters. Thank you once again for joining the live stream, and thank you once again for your patience as we wait here. This is a waiting game right now. That protest started around 42nd Street and made its way to the United Nations. The United Nations having their annual UN General Assembly. Earlier in the live stream, we did catch up to the protesters as they were making their way north along York Avenue. Their current location, I'm not sure where they are, but they are heading here. So perhaps they're not far from here. As you can see, the police officers are starting to make their move here. We did see some squad vehicles making their way south. Alright, so let's take a look here. You can see the some of the officers are starting to make their move here. So we can see some activity taking place.
I would just say, she was needy and, a lot of assistance.
Alright, so let's see what's happening here. I do have my press pass here, so I am as I document this event. Alright, so this is all taking place right outside of Gracie Mansion, right here along East End Avenue. Alright, so we did see some police making their move. Perhaps the protesters are not too far from here. Let me cross the street here. Oh, we got the truck heading this way. Looks like they might be bringing in more barriers here. Barricades. There it is right there. Alright, so that is the truck that sets up these barricades that you see here, or one of the trucks. Alright, so let's see here. We got more patrol vehicles making their way here. We have other folks just going on and about. Alright, so we are awaiting the arrival of the protesters as they make their way here along East End Avenue. Alright, so I'm not sure how long this is gonna take. Alright, so what I will do here is to conserve battery power. I will end this stream. I'm going to end this current stream here. I will stick around here for a bit. Whenever the protesters do arrive, I will be back online. So right now there isn't really much taking place right now, but we are awaiting the arrival of these protesters, pro-Palestinian protesters, as they make their way on over to this location right outside of Gracie Mansion. So I am going to end this stream because I do have to conserve my battery. I'm going to stick around for a bit longer, and whenever the activity picks up again, I will be back online. So I'm going to end this current stream, and I will be back online whenever the protesters arrive. So hopefully that'll be happening soon. Alright folks, so thank you once again. Whenever these protesters arrive, I will be back live. So for now, I will end the stream. I want to thank each and every one of you for joining this live stream as we await the arrival of the protesters. I will be back hopefully soon for the stream as they arrive. So from the Upper East Side of Manhattan, thank you all once again. I will be back when the arrival of the protesters occurs. So thank you once again.